Game 3 here tonight in front of a full house in the St. Louis Arena.
Greg Millen, his 10th appearance, 3.38, 4 wins and 3 losses. Finally got his first win in Game 2 against his former mates. Last time the Blues won a playoff series against the Blackhawks, 1988, and Millen was the winning goaltender. Vincent Riendeau, third straight start after replacing Curtis Joseph in Game 5 of their series against Toronto. He had 11 minutes of playoff experience before this series, but he's performed brilliantly for the Blues.
Referee tonight is Bill McCreary, the linesman Dan Shakti, and Bob Hodges. Here in the arena, the Blackhawks and the Blues played, of course, 4 times. 2 St. Louis victories, 1 for Chicago, and 1 tie in the 4 previous games in this rink. Here we go now with Game 3 as Paul Cavallini retreats in his own end. Cavallini has nowhere to go with it, hammers one off the glass back into the Hawk zone. Dave Manson is on it, he falls down, Hall steals, centered, and Zezel tied up, rebound, they score! At the 18-second mark after Dave Manson blows a tire, Sergio Momesso makes it 1-0 Blues.
Well, Momesso coming off his finest year ever in the National Hockey League. Gets his 3rd goal of the playoffs. Manson tries to reach for it, just can't keep up to it. Tries to stop, loses an edge, goes down with Zezel chasing him. Hull puts it out front to Zezel. Zezel's shot kicked towards Momesso, and Momesso puts it high over Millen 18 seconds into the period.
3rd playoff goal for Sergio Momesso. And the Blues off to a roaring start. Here's Keith Brown deep in his own end. Gave it to Greg Gilbert, who carries to center. Shoots it in, but Roenick in there ahead of the play, and it results in an offside call against the Hawks.
Well, Brett Hull keeps his scoring streak at 8 games now in the playoffs and gets the assist along with Zezel on Momesso's 3rd of the playoffs. Momesso with over 20 goals for the first time in his career. A terrific year with the Blues. Boy, he's a big man with good hands. Brett Hull now leading scorer in the playoffs with 14 points on 8 goals and 6 assists in 8 straight.
Now here's the draw. Conroy hammers it into the Blues zone. Jocelyn Lemieux bumped off the puck behind the net. Roenick gathers it into the corner. Trying to center, it's picked off, then Lemieux got it back, but Pope checked off his stick. Back into the near corner, Roenick. Took a hit there, Lemieux's pass hits a leg, and Paul McLean tries to carry it out for the Blues. Manages to kick it loose to center where Adam Oates feeds to Brindamore, dumping it in. Back of his own net, Conroy shot it around the boards. Taken by Gilbert on left wing for Savard. Racing into the Blues zone. Savard waiting for help as the Hawks were changing. He got surrounded. Then a steal by Thomas, cutting for the net. Centered one. Larmer couldn't redirect it to an open side. Larmer in the far corner. Leaves it for Thomas. Centered Savard. Didn't get to him. Larmer moves in. Riendeau! Oh, Vincent Riendeau saved a sure goal as Larmer tried to pull it to his forehand. Riendeau kicked out the right pad and knocked it off his sticker. It was a sure tally for Larmer.
Steve Larmer led the team in scoring with 90 points, the Blackhawks that is, and leads the team in scoring in the playoffs. Scored the 1st goal of Game 2. Riendeau kicks it away as Larmer tried to make a move from in close. Fully extended, tries to pull it back. Riendeau beaten to the puck, but somehow recovered and got his right pad onto the shot. Just prior to that, Steve Thomas passed one through the goal mouth trying to give Larmer a tap in, but Larmer couldn't accept the fast pass.
Mahar and Savard now to the left of Riendeau. There's the draw. Mahar comes up with it in the corner, shot it around the board. Rich Sutter on a rough ride from Creighton, and Featherstone carries out to Lowry. Chips it ahead, broken up by Yanni nicely to Larmer. He puts Wilson to center. Doug Wilson knocked down there by Mahar from behind, and the game's first penalty will be called here. It's early. It's 1-0 St. Louis.
Did you know that even though your 800 service is working perfectly, unexpected events can keep you from getting calls?
Hello?
But only AT&T automatically covers you with our 800 assurance policy. Within 1 hour, we can reroute 800 calls to any working phone, even at home. Guaranteed. Reliability, another AT&T advantage. Call today about our special 800 offer.
Blackhawks get the first power play, a chance to tie it up. They have 3 goals and 11 chances. Doug Wilson through the neutral zone on a feed from Larmer, pulled down from behind by Mahar, and Mahar goes to the penalty box.
Savard, Goulet, and Larmer out there with Wilson and Bob Murray. Here's the draw to Murray, far point, lets it go, and he shot it wide. Around to the near side, Wilson up the boards, missing Savard, then Goulet has it in the corner. Looking for Savard along the boards, Ron Wilson stepped into him. Now the Blues, Wilson can't get it by Doug Wilson at the near point. For Larmer, side of the net, Goulet, deep slot to Wilson, a drive, they score! Tipped in, it may have hit Steps. The Blackhawks on the power play score their 3rd of the series, and their 4th of the series, I should say, and now the Hawks have tied St. Louis at 1.
Goulet made the pass through the middle, right onto Doug Wilson, he let it go. There's some traffic along the near boards, Larmer into Goulet. Goulet back to Wilson, Wilson lets it go, it hits Schneps and it deflects past Riendo and into the net. Wilson gets his 2nd goal of the playoffs, the power play goal for the Blackhawks. 2:12 into the period, so 2 goals in the first 2 minutes. 18 seconds of the game, the Blues score, and the tip in off the stick and skate of Schneps and past a surprise Vince Riendo.
Goulet and Savard are given the assists on Wilson's goal at 2:12.
It should be Goulet and Larmer there. Larmer got it to Goulet, who in turn gave it to Wilson. Well, it's a tie game anyway.
Well, they've announced Savard. We'll see if they change it. Here's the draw. Steve Thomas got driven almost into his own bench by Paul Cavallini. Now Troy Murray behind the net. Took a hit from Momesso, who wins the puck. Momesso failed to get it by Presley, who picks it off behind the goal. Presley looking for help in front of the net. Gave it to Bob Murray at the near point. His long shot sails wide. Thomas holding it in. Steve Thomas walks into the slot. Now the shot is blocked by a fallen Zezel. Rebound off the crossbar. Thomas took a whack at a bouncing puck, shot it by Riendo's glove, but it hit the bar, and the Blues clear at the length for an icing call.
Well, that was a surprise shot. His first attempt hit the Blues player who was in front of him. It came back, he turned and did a 360 and just swatted at it in desperation. Puck flipped up in the air, and Riendo was set for a much harder shot and then didn't see the puck till it was by him, and the puck just knuckled towards the net and hit the crossbar. The first attempt by Thomas hit Zezel, then he just turned and swatted at it. Got enough of it to fool Riendo. Like a knuckle ball.
Savard and Mahar again get ready. This draw to the far corner. Mahar on it there. And Rick Mahar starts the Blues away, feeding Rich Sutter. Dumping it into the Blackhawks zone. Lowry hustled to the corner, shoots one to save, and rebound taken by Doug Wilson. Lowry with just excellent hustle, got a chance out of that. Here comes Larmer the other way. Gaining the line, stopping, waiting for Wilson, but the pass missed him and trickles free back to center ice. Richard Sutter for the Blues. Steps in over the line, got Wilson off balance, and the play offside, or the Blues had a good-looking rush going. Still early, 3.5 minutes gone in the first. It's already 1-1. Flipped into the Chicago zone. Manson behind the net. Trying to go up the middle over the stick of Roenick. And Paul McLean gathers it in for the Blues. Bouncing it into Chicago ice. Dave Manson is back. Manson bounced one to center, just away from Goulet. Carried on though by Larmer. Moves over the line, left it for Roenick, cutting up the slot, shoots! Schnepp blocked the shot, it trickled just wide. Rebound, Roenick trying to stuff it in. Riendo able to get to the near post and smother the stop shot. And the goal comes off the mooring.
Well, Schnepp makes amends for deflecting that Doug Wilson shot into his own net. Blocking a shot by Roenick, who got some good work from Lemieux. The Blues back in. The drop pass to Roenick. He goes right through the middle. The shot just off the skate of Snaps. Gets by Snaps. It has Riendeau beaten, as Riendeau had no idea where the shot went after it hit Snaps. And Snaps got enough of it that deflected wide of the net, and then it ended up near the side. Roenick tried to stuff in, but Riendeau was right there. Then Lemieux tried to poke at it, and he was knocked into the net from behind by McLean. It's been a physical series, but a well-played series, and very cleanly played.
Adam Creighton out there now with Secord and Presley. For Chicago, Peter Zezel. As Momesso. And Hull for St. Louis.
Now, Zezel's a very good face-off man, but he gets thrown out in a hurry, and Creighton will go against a winger, Momesso.
Now the draw, taken by Secord behind the net to Creighton. Here's the long reach for the wraparound, and a save by Riendeau. Rebound to the Blues. Momesso trying to flip it to the left, to the right wing boards. It deflects up over the glass and into the crowd.
Momesso with a good job there on the face-off, but he forgot to tie up the centerman. That's the job of the face-off man. Win or lose the draw, you have to eliminate the centerman, and he allowed the Blackhawks to pick up the puck in the corner on a face-off that he had won. And Creighton attempted the wraparound. Meanwhile, Momesso got the puck, tried to feed Brett Hull with a high, hard pass that deflected up into this full house.
Now Savard back out there with Larmer, and Gilbert this time is on the left side. Mahar, Lowry, and Sutter for St. Louis. Here's the draw. Doug Wilson rolled it to center. Now Yanni back in his own end, feeding Savard, who was too well covered. Then Yanni carried on. Trent Yanni got to center ice, was stopped there. Then Savard got to it, picks it up in over the line. Savard feeding Gilbert, trying to center for Larmer. Rolled off the end of his stick, though. Into the near corner it goes. Larmer put it to the deep slot. Yanni a long wrist shot. Riendeau stopped it. Rebound Lawler. Savard bumped him into the corner. Now Larmer after the loose puck. And Steve Larmer's pass deflected by Lowry back to center ice. Now Savard feathers one ahead for Larmer over the line. Peels off to the near side. Larmer bounced one in behind the goal. Taken there by Mike Lawler. He feeds Lowry. Now Zezel to center. Peter Zezel. Trying to feed Hull. The pass too far in front of him and Bob Murray. Shot it to the St. Louis line. Forward to Roberts. Didn't have anything to do with the puck as Roenick had him lined up. Now Momesso lost it at center to Thomas. Cavallini stepped into him nicely, and the Blackhawks able to dump it in. Roberts got it around the boards, back into Chicago territory. Manson or Presley at center ice turning. Flipped it over the line. Conroy on the near side, and Paul Cavallini knocked it loose to Hull. Then Hull races in against Manson. Hull trying to turn him around. Manson played the body nicely, and Hull had nowhere to go. And now it comes loose to the near corner. Blues dig it out. Paul Cavallini at the line. Got it to Momesso on the near side. Sergio Momesso scooped it around behind the net. Bounced off the mesh, and now will lay there as Millen pins it up against the side of the goal. With just under 14 minutes remaining in the opening period, it's Chicago 1, St. Louis 1. As we pause for a regional break. 2 goals in the first 2 minutes and 12 seconds of this game. Momesso at the 18-second mark for St. Louis, and Wilson answered for Chicago on a Blackhawk power play at 2:12. Now ready, here's the draw. Taken by Manson. He cleared it to the far side. Larmer, a neat touch pass to Savard. Puts him over the line on Schneps. Cutting and shoots one. Riendeau stopped it. Rebound Savard. Behind the goal for Gilbert. He goes down there. Then Larmer tries to is Gino Cavallini for St. Louis. To Jeff Brown, who dumps one in. Manson swings it around the boards. Gilbert sends Savard on his way. 2-on-2 as he crosses the line, leaving for Larmer, who's flipped by Featherstone. And Featherstone sends Steve Larmer flying. And now Doug Wilson looks for Goulet, who bangs it in there. Featherstone back for the Blues. Cleared it to the far board. Gino Cavallini, too well covered by Yanni. Goulet stole it to Roenick, centering. Ron Wilson picked it off. Clears not out. Yanni shot it behind the net. Dwayne Sutter for Chicago. Knocked down by Featherstone. Then Roenick came up with it. Roenick at the side of the goal, turns in behind. One hand on his stick trying to get away from Wilson. Now his pass is stolen. And Lowry bangs it back into the Hog zone. There's Yanni. Bearing to center ice. Roberts there for St. Louis to Oates. Adam Oates dumping it in. Doug Wilson. There's it back into the St. Louis end. Gord Roberts. This pass bounced to Paul Cavallini, who managed to flip it to the Hawk line. Keith Brown there. Gave it to Bob Murray. Murray feeding Presley over the line. Presley got around one check, but then lost the handle to Roberts. And Roberts to the left wing boards for Adam Oates. Looking for Brindamore, who couldn't field the pass along the boards. Keith Brown picks it up in his own end and banks it out to center ice. Now a two-line pass made by the Blues, and the whistle sounds. Sometimes being on the road can be a disadvantage from a coaching standpoint because you can't get the matchups you want. Sometimes, if the opposing coach lets you, you can dictate a little bit who's going to play for the home team, and looks like to me, Dale, so far in this game, Mike Keenan's doing that.
Sure, you put your explosive unit out there at every opportunity. The home team tries to counter with their defensive line, and they don't get much offense out of it. So that's exactly what's happening here. They're so concerned with Savard and Larmer and whoever's on the left side, Gilbert now out there, that you put your checking line out there and you don't get much offense. So all of a sudden now Mahar's out there with Hull and Momesso. So he's changed the line, but he's kept the centerman the same. You have to be careful there that you don't get in that trap.
As a result of that, we've seen very little of Oates and Brindamore. Rod Brindamore scored 2 goals in game 1. He had 3 assists in game 2. He's had, I think, only 2 shifts so far in the game. Here we go into the Blues zone. Featherstone chopped it in behind his own net to Lallard. Mike Lallard starts the Blues away. Scooped it to the far side. Momesso stepped to the line. Was poke checked there by Keith Brown, and Bob Murray hacked it back to center ice. Now it deflects over the glass and into the crowd. Well, Brett Hull, almost every time he's been on the ice, if he gets around his winger, he's looking at number 6, Bob Murray, who for just about his entire 15-year career has been a right defenseman. And I can recall, Dale, only a handful of times in the last several years where we've seen Bob Murray play on the left side, but he's done that effectively in this series.
It takes a little getting used to, but he did a fine job in game 2, and he's out there again playing both sides tonight. Brett Hull has had a terrific career. 10 goals in the playoffs lifetime against the Blackhawks. 11 goals this year, including regular season. His father scored 50 goals. He was just a year and a half old.
11 minutes remaining in the first period. 1-1 as Creighton and Ron Wilson get ready at center ice, and the draw is taken by Schneps. Clearing it out to center. Now Jeff Brown goes down on a Secord and Creighton sandwich. Brown slow to get up, but he is back up as Schneps plays behind his own net. Gave it away to Secord, fires, and a save by Riendo. Rebound, Secord, a bouncing puck, got help from Lemieux, who shoots one, and that's blocked out in front of the net. And now Secord leveled Zezel. Here's a bouncing puck, Lemieux shoots one, and a save by Riendo, and now the whistle stops the play. I said it was Zezel. It was Kelly Chase that was hurt at the St. Louis line. And the Blues fans upset that apparently there will be no penalty here. Now Chase challenging Secord. And the linesmen Hodges and Shakti with A good read there, getting to that potential trouble spot, and they keep those two separated.
Well, an aggressive shift for the Blackhawks with Creighton having Lemieux and Secord on his wings. First Brown was flattened, and then Chase went down.
A penalty or two on the way here. It's 1-1 as we pause for a regional break.
For high sticking and 2 for unsportsmanlike. Chase goes down. Secord just turned and swatted him across, hit the shoulder pad and caught him on the side of the head. He's lucky he only got 2 minutes. The official McCurry didn't see it. The linesman made that call. And then after the whistle blew, Chase and Secord got into a pushing match. So they both get offsetting unsportsmanlike penalties. But the high sticking penalty, the additional penalty, gives the Blues their first power play of the game. Hawk penalty killing has been excellent in their first series and has been very good in this series. They've only allowed 1 power play goal in 8 chances for the Blues. The Blues scored 18 seconds into the first period, but most of the play has been in the Blues end the first half of the period. And now they get a chance to turn that momentum around with a power play of their own. Hawk goal coming on the power play at 2:12.
Larmer and Gilbert come on as the Hawk penalty killers along with Brown and Bob Murray. The Blues send out Ron Wilson with Peter Zezel and Brett Hull. Jeff Brown and Paul Cavallini, the point men here to open the Blues power play. There's the draw to Cavallini. And the Blues work their way out of their own end. Cavallini will get to center and hammer it in there. Far corner, Zezel leaves it for Ron Wilson. His pass hits a leg to Bob Murray, who cleared it to center ice. Paul Cavallini gave it to Jeff Brown. Now Zezel. He puts it to Ron Wilson, stepping over the line. Turns on the near side, goes down, but got help from Jeff Brown. To the corner, Zezel. Peter Zezel lost it to Bob Murray. Chipped it loose to Larmer. He couldn't get it by Brown, who cuts for the net. The backhander and a save by Millen, and he gave no rebound.
Larmer trying to sneak it by the boards against Brown, but Brown was able to get his shin pad up against the board, keep the clearing attempt in, and then the defenseman was gone in the corner. Bob Murray had gone down and was tied up by Zezel. So Brown pinches in, picks up a loose puck, sees an open ice in the corner, cuts in, and from a sharp angle gets by Bob Murray, goes to the backhand. And Millen had the angle and then made the save and then fell backwards. Jeff Brown acquired from the Nordiques. Good offensive defenseman utilized on the point in the power play, has a terrific shot.
At 54 points this year after a 68-point season the year before that with the Quebec Nordiques. This is the first time in 3 years that Jeff Brown's had a chance to play in the postseason. Now Troy Murray and Ron Wilson will go for the draw. We're halfway through the first period, tied at 1. And the Blues on the power play. Murray's thrown out. Savard will have to step in. Now the draw. Savard won it to Keith Brown. He clears it down all the way.
Blackhawks are not a very good face-off team, but that was well done by the Blackhawks there. He couldn't diagram it any better.
Jeff Brown missing Zezel with a feed. It slides back to the Hawk zone. Taken by Bob Murray. He clears. Adam Oates back for St. Louis. Oates feeds Brindamore, who carries it into the Chicago zone. Leaves for Zezel. Here's the drive and a save by Millen. Rebound Oates. Oates in the deep slot, put it to Hull. Can't find the opening, so gave it back to Oates. Now to Hull again. Through to Jeff Brown on the near side. Shooting. Millen stopped it. Rebound Brindamore for Brown. To the far side where Hull's well covered by Yanni. Couldn't let one rip. Came loose to the near side. Another Hawk penalty's on the way. As Chicago controls, the whistle sounds, and the Hawks are going to be 2 men short for 16 seconds. It's the Blackhawks 1 and the Blues 1.
Brown on the feet from Hull. You sneak off and pay attention to Hull, and Brown is open. He cranks it up. Tried to take a little off that to go along the ice to the stick side. Millen made the save, and then Doug Wilson knocks Zezel down, and that's the holding penalty and a two-man advantage for 16 seconds.
Near corner, Zezel, top of the ring to Oates, back to Zezel in the corner, centered. Hall missed it. Jeff Brown keeps it in. Brown to the far side, now near side to Oates. He overskates it. Regains now. Oates to the corner, and Zezel, the first Hawk penalty's over. Centering pass. Millen! A bouncing puck in midair that was headed over his right shoulder off the stick of McLean. Millen reached up and keeps the game tied.
Millen getting a break there. McLean doesn't miss very often. A great shooting percentage in the regular season. I think he was 4th overall in the league with just under 25% shooting percentage. He hacked at it. The puck was behind him and bouncing. He just got enough of it. But Millen with a good reaction, snaring it out of midair with his glove hand. Zezel across the goal mouth, and McLean just shoveled it towards the net.
The Hawks were only short-handed by 2 men for 16 seconds there. That's the 3rd time in the playoffs the Hawks have been short by 2. Overall this year, they've been short-handed now 25 times by 2 men. And they've allowed only 1 goal to be scored against them. They were short by 2.
And that's why they get it called so often, because the officials know they're good at it.
Really doing them a favor, huh? Sure. Here's Adam Oates feeding Brindamore. Cleared it over the line to Hall on the left side, dropped it for Jeff Brown. His shot. Millen saw that one all the way, gloves it easily and holds on. And now McLean and Yanni have a few words, but that's all for now.
An easy save for Millen. Saw it all the way, a long wrist shot. Paul McLean with 20 goals in his career in the playoffs. 30 more goals, 8 of 9 years.
And the only year he didn't score 30, he scored 27. So a veteran sniper, and you mentioned that last chance. He's not going to miss too many of those from the doorstep. Just didn't get quite enough wood on it.
Second stint with the Blues organization. He was traded from the Blues to Winnipeg.
Adam Oates at the near point, slipped into the deep slot. Jeff Brown, a drive deflected upstairs. Rebound to Troy Murray, and he clears the center.
Brown's shot hit the shaft of Savard's stick and deflected up over the net.
A minute left in the Blues power play. Brett Hull rubbed off by Yanni beautifully. Gilbert controls, failed to clear it his first. Now he has a second chance and got it to Larmer on the right side at center. Steps over the line, shoots one, and a save by Riendo. He juggles. Now goes down to cover as both Larmer and Bob Murray and Gilbert, as it turned out, drove for the net.
Well, Gilbert's first clearing attempt hit his own player, and then he was able to recover and then bank it off the far boards to Larmer. Bob Murray caught up with the play, but Larmer trying to surprise Riendo with a high shot from the far side. Larmer took a look back, and then decided to crank it up. Well, good players really have the ability to skate with their head up and take a look and looked to see if he was going to be rushed. Wasn't. Then looked to see who was coming with him. Didn't see anybody open, so then he decided to shoot.
Paul Cavallini starts the Blues power play off by feeding Featherstone. The Brindamore, and his dumping sails into the crowd, and Brindamore goes down as if he was clipped by a high stick. Looked like that was right in front of Bill McCreary. The Blues pleading their case, and McCreary does not appear like he's going to call a penalty at all.
Well, Brindamore in the neutral zone goes to dump it in. It hits the shaft of Manson's stick. He has one hand on his stick. The stick comes up. I don't know if it was Manson's or the guy back checking in behind in a hooking attempt.
That's who it was. The player behind him that clipped him on the right side of the face there. And it was right in front of Bill McCreary, so Blues can't complain they didn't see it. Here's McCreary behind the play, and he saw this one all the way.
Well, it was Steve Larmer's stick that clipped him. Larmer was tied up momentarily by Featherstone, and then his stick came up and clipped Brindamore in the side, and I think McCreary probably thought it was Manson's stick that got him. But no penalty, and Larmer and Manson continue to see action the rest of the night. 35 seconds remaining on the Blues power play.
7.5 to go in the first. We're tied at 1 as Featherstone tries to shoot a long one. Bob Murray blocked it to Gilbert, who clears. Took a big hit in the process. He was really leveled by Brindamore. Now a bad pass by Riendeau, stolen by Yanni. He tried to set up Larmer in front, but Paul Cavallini stole it. Now lost it to Larmer. Larmer works along the boards. He'll waste a little time, dropping it out to center ice, and Bob Murray. Murray waits for somebody to come to him and then clears. And the Hawk penalty now is over. Both teams back at full strength. Sergio Momesso banks it for Adam Oates. Oates in over the Hawk line. His pass stolen by Manson. Manson back to the Blues line. Fakes the shot. Got around Lawler. Shooting. Riendeau! He gloved that one between his legs, reaching behind. It may have gotten a piece of the left pad, but then a circus-type move by Riendeau to keep the puck out of the net. 6.5 to go in the first. It's 1-1.
Good read on an Oates play at the Hawk blue line. Intercepted the pass towards Hull. Came up the left wing boards. 1-on-3 situation. Faked the slap shot. The defenseman backed off Lawler, giving Manson some room. And then Manson's shot got the glove of Riendeau, and then Riendeau fell back with his leg, with his arm between his legs as he fell backwards.
Now the draw to Steve Conroy. Banked one to the side of the net. Lawler there. Got knocked to the ice. Thomas centered one. Riendeau blocked the pass, though. And Zezel overskates, and Roenick a backhander and a save by Riendeau. And the Blues will gladly accept an icing call here as the Hawks off the draw. Had a couple of decent chances offensively.
They're doing well in the face-offs tonight. Defensive roles in their own zone. They've won a few. There they get a good chance off the draw. Roenick winning it back to Conroy. Conroy did the right thing. Instead of trying to go to the net, trying to shoot it through someone, he elected to go to the short side to get it by. First priority is to make sure it gets through, and he went to the bank shot off the corner boards. It came out to the side of the net. Thomas pried it loose, got it out front, and then Roenick tried to wrap around.
Roenick and Zezel now ready to the right of Riendeau. Zezel, Momesso, and McLean for Brian Sutter's Blues. Roenick, Thomas, and Presley for Mike Keenan's Hawks. Here's the draw back to center ice. Presley there. Lost the handle, and Manson retreats into his own end. Dave Manson gave it to Momesso, but he failed to hold in a bouncing puck. Now Thomas the other way. Gains the line, and Momesso got back defensively to steal his pass. Sergio Momesso. Nice Irish boy. Over the Hawk line, Manson stood him up and forced the play offside.
No, Roenick never quit. He kept coming back, kept working Momesso, hooking him, whacking with the stick, and then Manson forced the play at the line. Momesso was not too pleased with that situation and fired the puck after the whistle up against the boards. Four goals for Momesso.
Chase and Secord are getting ready to go here. They're lined up for the draw, and they're having a problem doing that.
Now McCreary comes over. The linesman comes back at them. Most of the conversation between the linesman and Chase. Secord.
Now here's the draw, taken by Conroy. His pass off the stick of Keith Brown and into the seats. Chase and Secord eyeballing right in front of McCreary, and the linesman come over there to keep the peace temporarily anyway. Kelly Chase, who this year is a 22-year-old rookie, averaged 6 penalty minutes per game that he played. Last year in Peoria, in 38 games, had 278 penalty minutes. The year before that, in the Western Junior League, had 343 penalty minutes.
He's got a baby face. Looks like an angel. You never know. You see him in his civvies and you'd think he was just coming from Mass.
Now the draw taken by Keith Brown. Pushed it to center. Adam Creighton was surrounded by Blues. Ron Wilson took it away, steps in over the line. Ron Wilson tees it up, fires, and Millen got a piece with the left pad. Now the Blues unable to hold it in. Now corralled by Keith Brown. Brown dumps it into the Hawk zone. Featherstone around the boards for Gino Cavallini. Cavallini rolled it to center. Taken there by Keith Brown. Rolling it into the blue zone. And Featherstone sends it ahead to Momesso on the left side, or Gino Cavallini rather, with a long slapper up off the glass. Chase to the corner, lost it there to Savard. Dennis Savard motors to center ice. Savard put it over the line to Larmer. Oh, the pass was at his feet. He couldn't corral it. And Jeff Brown does. Banking it out to Sutter at center. Rich Sutter in over the Hawk line, centered it, and Mahar couldn't control the pass. Now back of the Hawk goal, Mahar against Yanni. Yanni tied him up to the corner. Came loose to Rich Sutter moving in front. Doug Wilson knocked him off the puck with a good hit. Now Mahar along the boards. Got it to Schneps, trying to center one. Wilson steals, and Schneps re-steals a shot up off the glass. And Wilson, Doug Wilson, cleared to center ice. Taken there by Larmer. Larmer, as the Hawks are changing, has no help, so he waits before he shoots it in, and a casual move by Riendo almost cost him. A little nonchalant, but he had to make the stop, and he eventually did. Down to 4 minutes remaining in the first. We're tied at 1. The Hawks and the Blues started this one like we might get to double figures before it's over. Now more of a typical Chicago-St. Louis type game. But they each scored a goal in the first 2 minutes. Here's Brett Hull storming in, shoots, and a save by Millen. Rebound. Momesso knocked it loose to Zezel. Centering, knocked away from Paul Cavallini. Hawks on the counterattack. Here's Thomas looking for Presley, and a good defensive play by Brett Hull rather, to pick that one out of midair. Now Bob Murray. Trying to dump it in. Momesso stopped it. Keith Brown able to break up that potential rush for the Blues, and Troy Murray there's it to St. Louis territory. Roberts to the left wing boards, taken by Momesso. Now Zezel. Peter Zezel. The Momesso flipping it in, and a penalty is going to be called as Zezel goes down. The Hawks control the whistle sound. Steve Conroy not very happy with the call, but the Blues nonetheless will head to the power play.
Third straight power play. They had a 2-man advantage for 16 seconds. And Conroy trying to slow up Zezel in the neutral zone. That play is done with regularity. They're taught to do that when the player is dumped in. A defenseman stands up. But prior to that, Brett Hull, who had a step on Bob Murray, tried to go to the short side. Millen made the save, and then Zezel's pass was deflected by Troy Murray, and the Hawks counter came the other way. And it was Brett Hull in a back-checking role who broke up the pass. Meanwhile, a 2-minute interference penalty to Steve Conroy at 16:44 for knocking down Zezel, as Zezel attempted to get to a St. Louis dump in.
Meager 1 for 10 in the series for St. Louis. That's a little deceiving because a couple of the Blues power plays have been very short. Although the way stats are kept in the NHL, if you have a man advantage for even 1 or 2 seconds, it counts as a full power play. So sometimes those numbers can be a little misleading. In this case, they are, but it doesn't hide the fact that the Blues need better production than they are getting on their power play.
Brian Foley here at the game tonight.
That guy is from Quebec City. The Blues have hired him to come in here to try to spark the crowd here at home. But this gentleman is a fella from Quebec City. He lives there and attended all the Quebec Nordiques games, and he's taking full responsibility for why they didn't make the playoffs. Good looking guy, though. Here's the draw. Brett Hull scores!
through the regular season. They were doing a good job tonight, but Oates won it from Savard. And Hull, who was moving in, he was already sneaking in at the top of the circle, and he beat Millen to the stick side. Puck is on edge. Trent Yanni comes out to block it, and that in itself gave Millen problems, and the speed of the shot was in and out. And a 2-1 Blues lead, a power play goal. They're 1 for 3. And Millen didn't even move.
In the playoffs, 81 goals all year for the great Gretzky. There's the draw. Keith Brown scoops it in there. Gord Roberts back. Roberts gave it away to Roenick, centering Thomas. Oh, he couldn't pull the trigger as Roberts recovered to poke it away. And now the Hawks dump it back in. On the near side, Paul Cavallini chopped it out to center. Adam Oates there. Got around one check over the line to Brindamore, centering Oates, and he was too well covered. It's cleared to the neutral area. Roberts dumping it right back in. Millen falling down behind the net, but he's able to field it. Shot it to the right wing boards, and Presley bounced it not out. Brindamore trying to get it to Oates. It hopped over his stick. Now the Blackhawks come out of their own end. Jeremy Roenick into the Blues zone. A wrist shot gloved by Riendo. And Jeff Brown feeds Brindamore. He got rubbed off by Creighton at center ice. Now Yanni beating Savard. Has Creighton coming. Savard yanked down by Sutter from behind. That'll be a penalty against St. Louis. So the Blackhawks will finish the first period with a power play opportunity.
Well, they started the period with one and scored their lone goal on the power play, and they need to tie it up with a power play goal. The Blues took 2 seconds on their last power play right off the draw. Savard hooked from behind by Sutter. Sutter goes to the box. Savard goes down, and the Hawks go to the power play.
The Blackhawk power play in this series has been more effective than the St. Louis power play, at least to this point. The Hawks have scored 4 power play goals, counting the one that they have tonight. 4 out of 12 so far with the extra man.
Well, their power play struggled against the North Stars. Seems to be back on track in this series.
Savard, Goulet, and Larmer with Wilson and Bob Murray at the points. Mahar and Lowry for St. Louis with Schnaps and Lallard. Here's the draw to Bob Murray to the far corner, and Larmer. His pass stolen by Mahar, clearing. Now Doug Wilson beating Savard at center. Got stopped by Schnaps at the line. Doug Wilson able to dump it in there. Schnaps goes back, gathers it in, and clears. Doug Wilson again leads the Chicago rush. Gave it to Bob Murray. He chips it into the Blues zone. Taken by Savard. Near point to Wilson. Touch pass across to Bob Murray. He got tied up by Adam Oates, who steals but couldn't clear it. However, Lallard will. He's got plenty of time and shoots it down all the way. Into the final minute of the period as Larmer moves up the right side, avoiding a hit from Ron Wilson. Now got it to Roenick over the line. For Creighton in the far corner, leaves it there for Roenick. It's kicked off his stick to Ron Wilson. He feeds Lowry at center, but he couldn't hold the pass. Doug Wilson clearing for Thomas over the line. Steve Thomas against Lowry along the boards. Back of the net to Creighton. Adam Creighton bumped by Roberts to the corner. Now Roenick in trying to dig it out. He did to the line, and Wilson. Far point to Manson, long wrist shot, and a save by Riendo. Rebound Creighton. For Thomas on the far side. Back to the line in Manson. For Thomas, the one-timer. He hit Creighton in front of the net. Karams to the near board. Taken by Roberts. Chipped it to the far side. Thomas, 2 seconds left. The first period is over. Well, a little flurry by the Blackhawks and on the power play at the tail end of the period. But Riendo and the Blues penalty killers managed to hold them off. 16 shots for Chicago in period one. The Blues had 13 shots on goal. And the scoring opened right after the drop of the puck as Dave Manson went down in his own end. The Blues gained control and Sergio Momesso popped one in from Zezel and Hall at the 18-second mark to put St. Louis in front. But then the Hawks on a power play got a break when Doug Wilson's long shot caromed in off of Harold Schneps. Wilson assisted by Savard and Larmer. They say that should be changed. It should be Goulet and Larmer. We'll see how it turns out. But anyway, then the Blues came back with a power play score of their own. Brett Hull right off a draw, won by Adam Oates. Hull cranked it in at 16:46 to put the Blues out in front. So after 20 minutes of play, an entertaining start to this third game, as were the first two in Chicago. And through one period, it's the Blues 2 and the Hawks 1.
Well, after one period of play, it's the St. Louis Blues 2 and the Blackhawks 1. Sergio Momesso opened the scoring at the 8th. Live from the Great Western Forum, the Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Game 3, it's exclusively on Sports Channel.
Just 3 seconds left on a Rich Sutter penalty, so as soon as they drop the puck, the Blues will be at full strength. And here's the draw, dumped into the Blackhawk zone. Bob Murray back for it. Got help from Brown on the far side, ahead to Gilbert, now Roenick. Jeremy Roenick drives it into the St. Louis end. On the near side, Roenick got to it in the corner. Scoops behind the net, rubbed off there by Featherstone. And the Blues look to clear, but Larmer steals the pass. Now got it to Bob Murray. Turning on the far side. Back to Gilbert with a long one-timer. Didn't get anything on it. Dribbled into the corner where Keith Brown flipped it behind the net. Lawler trying to get away from Larmer. He did. And shot it to the neutral zone. Blackhawks dumping it back in and off the play. We have Gilbert and Lawler tangling, and they're both going to be sent off here. It's all right in front of Bill McCreary, and he'll send them both to the penalty box.
We talked about the fact that it's been a physical series, but very few penalties and very few altercations. Meanwhile, some more conversation between Trent Yanni and Wilson. But Gilbert sent off, and so will Lawler have a seat. 41 seconds into the second period, offsetting minor penalties. Lawler, the former Montreal Canadian, has been a big addition to this Blues defensive core. Played well with Montreal, with just a matter of numbers games with some of the young defensemen they had coming out of their system. So they were forced to trade Lawler, and Ron Caron, the general manager, is certainly on the pulse of things in the Montreal organization, having been there for years and worked for them. And he's made a lot of deals with the Canadians.
Creighton between Lemieux and Goulet out there for Chicago. Zezel, Hull, and Momesso for St. Louis. Here's Paul Cavallini in his own end to Roberts. Nearly gave it away to Lemieux. Now up the boards, Momesso. Able to bounce it back into the Hog zone. Doug Wilson has to hurry back. He did. Now Wilson flipped it over everybody's head out to center ice. Michel Goulet gave it to Jocelyn Lemieux over the line. Shoots one, and he missed the net. And Momesso clears it back to the neutral area. Manson shot it behind the Blues goal. Gord Roberts for St. Louis. Paul Cavallini. And now the Blues come away. Brett Hull into the Hawk zone. Got turned around by Manson. Presley chopped it loose to Thomas. And the Hawks start back. Steve Thomas has room, moving in on Schneps. Thomas the shot, and a save by Riendo. Thomas got all of that hard wrister, but Riendo kicked out the left pad as Schneps backed in on Thomas. Now Troy Murray back to the Blues line, shoots one. Riendo gave up a rebound, and Brown there for the Blues to clear it back to center ice. Hawks dump it in, taken by Schneps. Harold Schneps to Jeff Brown. Now McLean feeds Oates. Adam Oates into the Hawk zone. For McLean to the Taylor Schneps. Oh, he couldn't hold the pass. Hawks are 2-on-1 the other way. Here's Savard with Secord. Savard moving in. Centered one. Larmer's shot is blocked by McLean. And the Blues clear it to center. A 2-on-1 with Savard and Secord, and the Hawks never got off a shot. Now Adam Oates for the Blues. Clearing it into the Chicago end. Bob Murray back. Gave it to Secord, who was stopped by Mahar. And then Lowry tries to get it to Rich Sutter. It bounced away from him to center and Larmer. Clearing it into the St. Louis zone. Lowry failed to get it out. Roenick on the near side. Center one. Lemieux hit the side of the net. Jocelyn Lemieux off a Roenick steal and setup. Had a chance but missed the outside of the post. Here's Doug Wilson back over the line, spun around, knocked down, and one of the linesmen is hurt. Bob Hodges seemed to get caught in some traffic right in front of the bench areas. Hodges went down in a heap and slow to get up now, but getting some assistance from the St. Louis trainer. It's the responsibility of the home trainer, by the way. If any of the officials need assistance, it's the home trainer that's supposed to come to their aid. So that's just an unwritten rule among trainers. But Hodges regaining himself, it appears. And it's early in the second period at St. Louis 2 and Chicago 1. What a job the linesmen have in the NHL.
Well, they're just like mules. No fear of punishment, no chance of reward. And Hodges just lost an edge and went right down crashing on his side.
What a job description. Who would ever apply for that? Boy, really, they do so many thankless things, though. But fortunately, Bob Hodges is okay. Here's the draw, cleared in behind the Hawk net. Yanni hammers it off the glass back the other way. Mike Lawler is back there. He'll put the touch on it for an icing call. The St. Louis franchise is Michael Shanahan.
I didn't know he was quite a soccer player in college. He couldn't do much with his hands. Played at St. Louis University on the 59-60 NCAA championship teams. Quite a classy man.
Really is a fine gentleman, and he's really done a lot in a short period of time to try to get this franchise turned in the right direction. He had quite a hole to dig out of. The hole that was left by Harry Orness. Face off to the left of Millen. Here's the draw taken by Gilbert. And he clears it back into the Blues zone. Featherstone. Gave it to Lowry. Dave Lowry bangs it in there. Over to the far corner it goes. Now Mahar against Bob Murray there. Up game 3 along the boards. Lawler in after it. Shot it behind the net. Keith Brown bounced it to Larmer on the right wing boards. He failed to get it out. Mahar trying to center one. Deflects to Rich Sutter trying to put it in front. And a nice play by Larmer to pick it off. Now a centering pass. And a shot I think got to the post. Millen able to corral it. As Lowry and Sutter were around the front of the goal. A shot trickled by Millen and may have gotten to the post, but he was able to smother it there. 16 minutes to go in the second period. 2-1 St. Louis.
Well, the Blues finally with some pressure on the Blackhawks. It almost results in their third goal. The puck bouncing around. The shot on goal deflected. Lowry's backhand attempt. Kicked at by Millen and right off the post, and Millen's able to reach back and glove it, so he gets a break, and then Sutter comes in and hacks at it. And then the rest of the players come around. A lot of conversation and pushing and shoving, but a face-off to Millen's right.
Which is controlled by Manson. Clearing it up the boards to Lemieux. Jocelyn Lemieux dumping it in. Back to the goal. Brindamore harassed by Presley, who jammed it loose to Lemieux on the far side. Into the corner, Roenick. Jeremy Roenick center one. They score! Roenick threw it right through the slot, and Dave Manson all alone off the near post. A one-time shot in past Riendo, and Manson puts the Hawks into an even game now at 2-2.
Well, good forechecking by Presley, who lost his glove, went down on his knees, tied up Brindamore in behind. Then Roenick got it from the corner, across Schneps' stick, over Presley, right to Manson, who came in from his defense position. Was there for the longest time, no one paid attention to him. Lemieux banks it off the boards to Roenick. Roenick, intending for Presley, misses Presley, but right to Manson. Manson just gets enough of it from a sharp angle. Riendo, slow to react to the Manson goal.
Dave Manson's first goal and second point of the playoffs. Manson from Roenick and Presley at 4:38. First career playoff goal for Dave Manson after scoring 5 times in regular season play. Well, the Hawks now catch the Blues at a deuce. And here's the draw taken by Manson at center. Lost it there to Zezel. Now Paul Cavallini gave it to Zezel, but the Blues offside of the play. Well, after that first goal by St. Louis, the 18-second mark of the first, on which Manson had control in his own end, only to lose an edge and hit the deck, allowing the Blues to score. The Chicago defenseman has to feel a lot better about things now.
Just one an unfortunate situation. Has a tendency to play with your confidence first shift, and you fall down, lose an edge, you cough up the puck, and bang, it's in your net. Manson coming through in a big way, snuck in behind everyone and got a nice feed from Jeremy Roenick, who keeps the scoring streak alive at 8 games now. Roenick with 6 goals and 3 assists for 9 points. Amazing how this game turns around. Lowry has a backhand shot that eludes Millen, hits the post. The Blackhawks come right back and score to tie it up. Instead of being 3-1 St. Louis, it's a 2-2 game. Michel Goulet scored his first goal as a Blackhawk here in the arena, a short-handed goal. And the next time he played at home, he got 2 goals in the first half of the game, but was flattened by Featherstone, injured his ribs and missed about 3 weeks of action, and really never got back into shape.
Now Manson flips it to the Blues line. Paul Cavallini swings it around the boards. Momesso. Sergio Momesso flipped it to center. And there goes Brett Hull down to the ice. Michel Goulet will have a seat. So 5 minutes gone in the second period. The Blues head to the power play, trying to bring.
Michel Goulet, a hooking penalty at 5:21. Pull down Brett Hull. Swats at the high clearing attempt, gloved ahead by Brett Hull, and Hull goes down with a hook from Goulet, and the Blues looking to pull ahead again on the power play. Their 4th of the night. They're 1 for 3.
The draw cleared behind the Blues net. Let me finish some bookkeeping. I said that Roenick and Presley assisted that last goal by Manson. It's Lemieux, not Presley, getting the second assist at 4:38 of the second period. Blues dump it in on the power play. Gilbert in the far corner. Battles his way behind the net. Zezel stopped him there, and now a hand pass ruled against St. Louis to bring on a whistle.
Well, I hope that's what McCreary was signaling. Anyway, the faceoff will go to the neutral zone. That's a terrific stat. 7 game-winning goals for the Blues in the last 15 playoff victories. The last time the Blues beat the Blackhawks in playoff competition, 1988. And Brett Hull got 3 winning goals in that series.
The only time the Blues have ever knocked Chicago out of the playoffs. Chicago's won 5 series from St. Louis previously. Zezel, Ron Wilson, and Hull on the Blues power play. with Oates and Brown, as now Adam Oates dumps it in. Bob Murray sends it to the far side. Held in nicely by Oates to Zezel along the boards. Peter Zezel to the corner. Back to the line, Oates. Put it across to Jeff Brown. Near circle Hull. His one-timer flipped wide. Now Zezel. And Yanni's lost his stick. The Hawks only have 3.5 out there now. Ron Wilson out to the deep slot. Here's Jeff Brown. Gave it to Oates. Touch pass for Wilson. The Blues are on the perimeter. Side of the net, Zezel failed to pick it up off the end board. The Hawks want to whistle, and they'll get it as Bob Murray pins it up against the side of the net. And then the goal dislodged, but Chicago desperately wanting a whistle there, with Trent Yanni having lost his stick.
Well, the forward up high in the box should give his stick to the defenseman. I'm surprised Larmer didn't see that and make the attempt, but that's Bob Murray, an experienced move there, realizing the situation, just finally fell on top of it to the side of the net. And Yanni comes up high after he lost his stick. Ron Wilson in behind, they're trying to take advantage of it. The pass misses Zezel and comes out to the side of the net, and Bob Murray pushes it under Millen to get a face-off. 55 seconds remaining on the Goulet hooking penalty. The Blues with 1 power play goal and 3 chances on the power play. Only 2 in the series so far.
Dennis Savard and Ron Wilson will get ready for the draw. Here it is, right to Oates, a quick shot, and Millen makes the save. Savard twice has been beaten cleanly on faceoffs, and in his own end, the first one resulted in a Brett Hull goal.
Well, you'd like to have a right-handed shot, trying to pull it back in the corner. Savard, or left-handed centerman, trying to pull it on his backhand. Savard beaten. Second time he's been beaten in a short-handed situation cleanly. Millen made the save, and then Troy Murray had a chance to clear. Couldn't quite find the location of the puck at his feet.
Meanwhile, on that clearing attempt, it wound up in the Chicago bench, and somebody got nailed with that shot. Mike Keenan ducked out of the way. I think he avoided it. But Mike Gavsky over helping out one of the Chicago people. However, it appears that everything now has been squared away. Might have been this. Oh, that was the security guard. They have a security officer there, and he's the man that got dinged with that one. Now here are the Blues on the power play. Jeff Brown gave it to Brett Hull to the deep slot. Larmer turned him around. Stolen away for a moment, then the Blues hold it in. Zezel lost it to Bob Murray, who has his stick grabbed by Hull as he tried to clear it. The Blues keep it in. Brindamore in the near corner. Gave it to Hull. Back to Brindamore. It missed him. Taken by Bob Murray. He clears it down all the way.
Well, finally, the Blackhawks able to clear. They had possession 3 different times, failed to clear it on every opportunity, and most times that ends up in your net, but finally Bob Murray was able to get it.
Blues cleared into the Hawk zone. Manson back, and he cleared it to center. As the Chicago penalty expires, both teams back at full strength. Here's Wayne Presley beating Dave Manson. Couldn't get it in deep. Now taken by Roenick, and he shot it back at the St. Louis goal. Momesso now carries it to center ice. Got tied up there. McLean and send it ahead to Brindamore. However, the Hawks steal and move back in there offside. With 12 minutes remaining in the second period, it's tied at 2 as we pause for a regional break. Faceoff coming out outside the St. Louis line. And the draw is taken by Thomas, who shoots it in. Comes loose to the near side to Keith Brown. A shot and a save by Riendo. And he did well to corral that, not giving up a rebound as a couple of Hawks went storming to the net. Thomas and Lemieux. Steve Thomas with a 5-game point streak entering the action tonight. 2 goals and 6 points in the last 5 playoff starts for Steve Stumpy Thomas. The hockey version, Chicago White Sox fans would remember Walter No Neck Williams. And Steve Thomas is the Blackhawks' answer to old No Neck.
You're aging yourself.
Here's the draw. Thomas trying to stuff it in. Riendo stopped him. Rebound Creighton. Trying to hack at it. He couldn't connect. Now the Blues, Paul Cavallini. Leads ahead to Gino. Blues pass. Eludes Ron Wilson, and Manson takes over for the Blackhawks. Leading Thomas on left wing. Steve Thomas. His pass deflects to Lemieux. Carries it in behind the net. Got a rough ride there from Roberts, and now Momesso gave it to Paul Cavallini, beating Ron Wilson, who couldn't corral it at center ice. Thomas does. Steve Thomas got stopped at the line by Roberts. Now Momesso rolling it into the Blackhawk zone. Taken by Dennis Savard. There'll be a penalty coming up. Doug Wilson got tied up with Momesso, and Wilson's going to be called for a penalty here. 11 minutes to go in the second. It's Chicago 2, St. Louis 2.
You never know what the day will bring.
This is contract law.
Next building. But the unexpected's a real sure thing. On demand, you're more sure.
You see, Sure responds on demand to work harder when you need it more.
No volunteers?
So Sure helps keep you dry.
You may never know when you need more Sure, but Sure knows when.
The third party.
Correct. To give you more. Raise your hand on demand. You're more Sure.
Well, a questionable call. Now the Blues will get their 5th power play. The last one for Goulet was a hooking call. This one, Doug Wilson tries to slow up Momesso, who dumped it in. Looked like it was a mutual understanding. They both go to the ice, as they both had a pretty good grip on each other, but it's Wilson who gets the call. His second holding penalty of the night, and the Blues get their 5th power play.
Larmer is going to go for this draw, but Zezel wins another one to Brown. Far side to Zezel, back to Brown. Now Brindamore for Zezel, centering Hall, the quick shot. Millen the save. I think that shot might have partially been blocked by Yanni. Still, Millen had to be alert. And Red Hall just never seems to hang on to the puck. When it's there, it's gone just as quickly.
Well, it was a bit in front of him, and he just sort of shoveled at it. F. Brown. Pass into Zezel. Zezel back out to the slot. Red Hall got enough of it. Millen got a piece of it, and then fell on top of it. And Hull had some words with Gilbert well after it. It appeared that the puck was a bit in front of him, and he still was able to let the shot away.
Larmer and Zezel again. Larmer won this one, and Bob Murray clears. Jeff Brown on it. Brown sends Brindamore to center ice. Rod Brindamore, with 5 points in the first 2 games, now goes down. Larmer steals, starts the other way, crossing the line, shoots one. He fired a wrister up high and wide. Taken by Adam Oates. Cleared it up the near side. Brindamore whacked it out to center. Yanni steals it there. Cleared it back to the Blues line. Now Brindamore carries it back into the Hawk zone. Brindamore up the slot to Brown. He scores! Jeff Brown on a one-time feather pass from Rod Brindamore, and the rookie Brindamore continues his outstanding series. It's 3-2 St. Louis.
Troy Murray had a chance to spring Savard at the Blues line, fanned on the pass. The Blues picked it up, come the other way. Brindamore to Hull, back to Brindamore. The backhand pass, I don't know how he knew Brown was there. Brown coming in on the off wing, and he cranked it up to beat Millen to the sticks or glove side. Some beautiful passing by the Blues, resulting in their second power play goal and a 3-2 Blues lead with 10 minutes and 18 seconds to go here in the second period. But Troy Murray failed to corral a loose puck inside the Blues line with Savard all alone, fanned on it, and the Blues picked it up and with some nifty passing made them pay. So Hull and Brindamore.
Brindamore now with with 2 goals and 4 assists for the Blues in the first 2.5 games of this series. Jeff Brown, meanwhile, scoring the power play goal. Brown with his second playoff goal and 8th point. How's Brett Hull doing tonight? 3 goals for the Blues. He's scored 1, assisted on the other 2. Paul Cavallini now. Back of the Hawk net to Ron Wilson. He centered it. Came through to the near side. Here's Roberts holding it in. Gave it to Paul Cavallini. Fired it around the boards. McLean behind the net. Trying to center one. It deflects to Ron Wilson. He put it in front. Big scramble there. Millen has control. And he's able to freeze it to gain a whistle.
The Blues spurred on by that power play goal, come right off the face-off in the neutral zone and put pressure on the Blackhawks. Get the puck in behind the net and try to stuff it in on a wraparound. A short shift there by the Blackhawk unit. Keenan didn't like that situation, and he puts fresh troops out with a face-off again deep in the Hawk zone.
Savard, Larmer, and Gilbert for Chicago, and the Blues answer with Mahar, Sutter, and Lowry. Now ready to the left of Millen. The draw to Sutter for Lowry. His shot, and a save by Millen, and he hangs on, and the Blackhawks have got to find a way to get some improvement, especially in their defensive zone faceoff.
You get in a lot of trouble if you don't win faceoffs, the majority of them. A lot of good chances created off the faceoffs for the Blues here in the second half of the hockey game. The second part of the first period, they got more and more chances. It looked like the Blackhawks were off to a good start killing penalties, but the Blues, the big edge late in the first and the second period.
After losing that draw, Savard and Gilbert come off. Creighton and Lemieux come on. And Sutter makes a full-scale line change with Oates coming out with McLean and Brindamore. Now the draw. McLean kicked at it, but right to Larmer. Steve Larmer rolled it to center ice. Now taken there by Creighton, stepping over the line. An extra stick handling move forced Larmer offside. Adam Creighton with a great opportunity for a rush and had to dust it off before he crossed the line.
One extra move and another good chance toward it. The Blackhawks had a 2-on-1 earlier with Savard and Secord, but never got a shot off there. A little dump pass by Creighton to Larmer, and Larmer's in all alone. They wanted to make one extra move. An extra move caused the offside.
Here's the draw, taken by Lawler to McLean. Got tied up by Lemieux, then high stick to McLean. Stick came up on Lemieux, and Bill McCreary comes over to have a look. The penalty is on the way. Will it be minor or major? We'll tell you when we come back. Halfway through the second period at 3-2-6.
It's only a 2-minute high sticking penalty. Lemieux trying to get at Featherstone. The puck in front of him, and the stick of McLean just grazes the left eye of Lemieux. Lemieux goes down, and it didn't appear to be an accidental situation, and yet only a 2-minute penalty.
So the Blackhawks with a power play opportunity here, and the draw is taken by Lowry. Dave Lowry will waste a little time at center ice and then clear it.
Third power play of the night for the Blackhawks.
Doug Wilson puts Savard to center, flipped it for Goulet over the line on the left side, cutting and shoots. He hit the side of the net. In behind it goes. Goulet left it there for Savard. He was too well covered. Now Goulet got knocked down in the corner, but fed Bob Murray nicely. Murray to Goulet near circle. Side of the net, Larmer. Bouncing puck away from him. Came loose along the boards. board. Bob Murray able to hold it in for a moment. Not for long, though. Paul Cavallini clears. A minute left on the Chicago power play. Roenick races down the left side. Stopped at the line. Stolen by Featherstone, who clears it. Now Manson goes down behind the net, but Roenick there to help him out. Feeds ahead for Thomas. Thomas races back into the St. Louis zone. Stopped at the line. Ron Wilson clears. Well, the Blues standing up beautifully at their own blue line here, even while short-handed. Now Featherstone's lost his stick. Here comes Creighton over the line for Thomas. Thomas on the near side, dropped it back to the line. Manson into the corner. Thomas trying to center one. Riendo blocked the pass. Thomas again in the near corner. 20 seconds left on the penalty. The Blues steal, and Lowry clears. Trent Yanni looking for Manson, but Mahar picked it off. Mahar knocked down by Manson, got back up to feed Paul Cavallini. Cavallini in traffic. Now Mahar got leveled again by Manson. The play goes on. The penalty is over now, and both teams are back at full strength. The Mahar limps off, dragging his right leg. Here's Gilbert over the line shooting. He shot it upstairs. Taken by McLean, who shot it back into the Hog zone. Rick Mahar limped off to the St. Louis bench after that last shift. He was dragging his right leg severely, it appeared. Here comes Presley the other way. Shoots one. Couldn't get it by Jeff Brown. Back of the net, Lawler. Mike Lawler rolled it out to center ice. Keith Brown there for Chicago. His pass deflecting to Brindamore. Rod Brindamore into the Chicago zone. Lost the handle to Keith Brown. Brown to Presley on right wing. Baiting Lemieux to center. He shovels it in there. Jeff Brown. Ahead to McLean on right wing at center. McLean gains the line, then Creighton took him off the puck. It's cleared back to the St. Louis zone. Now 6 minutes remaining in the second period. 3-2 Blues as Manson steps into the St. Louis zone, weaving to the far side, shooting, and a save by Riendo. Rebound, and it hopped away from Dwayne Sutter, out to center. Now taken by Momesso, leading Zezel over the line. Zezel walks in front, shoots one, and a save by Millen. Rebound to Doug Wilson, and he cleared it to center ice. Taken there by Dwayne Sutter, who dumps it in. Jeff Brown on it. Long feed to Momesso, and he accepted a two-line pass, and the play is stopped. 5.5 left in period 2. St. Louis 3. With Dale Talon, Pat Foley in the St. Louis arena.
Another wonderful game. All three games have been terrific. Blues won the first one, dominated play in the first 35 minutes. The Blackhawks came on, made it a game, lost 4-3. Game 2 was end-to-end, exciting game. The Blackhawks scored in the empty net to win 5-3, and it's going to go down to the wire again. 3-2 St. Louis lead here with 5.5 to go in the second period.
Trent Yanni on the far side with a long shot. Riendo stopped it, then Featherstone put it to the near board. Keith Brown holds it in for Thomas. Thomas tees it up, his shot, and a save by Riendo. Rebound, Ron Wilson has nowhere to go, trying to hammer it off the boards. Hawks hold it in, however. Now bouncing loose to the slot. Larmer and a diving poke check by Paul Cavallini. Knocked it away from Steve Larmer. Lowry the other way. Couldn't corral a bouncing puck. Larmer does. He feeds Thomas at center, looking for Savard over the line, and the pass a little behind him, allowing Momesso to steal it. Back behind the Blues net. Here's Savard trying to center one. Deflects to the far corner, and Thomas. Steve Thomas put it in front. Paul Cavallini in position to steal that one. And now the Blues fail to clear it. Savard to steal for Larmer, 2-on-1, cutting in for Thomas. Right in, he shoots. Riendo, rebound Thomas, and a save, rebound again. And Thomas's third chance doesn't get through. Paul Cavallini clears it back into the Hog zone. Vincent Riendo had a one-on-one confrontation confrontation with Steve Thomas, and the goaltender emerged victorious. Here's a two-line pass to Brett Hull and a whistle.
Savard with a giveaway inside the Blues line on the far side, picked it off, got it into Larmer, Larmer back to Thomas, and Thomas beaten by Riendo as he went to the backhand, faked the shot, went to the backhand. Riendo wouldn't go for it and got the glove on it. Savard strips it away, cuts in, stops. Dump pass over to Larmer. 2-on-1 situation with Paul Cavallini. Larmer gets it by the stick of Cavallini to Thomas. Thomas drifts, waits, and fires it right into the glove. Riendo having a terrific playoff series against the Blackhawks. Makes a key save there to keep the Blues ahead 3-2.
Now Doug Wilson feeds Roenick. Bring it into the Blues zone. Mike Lawler knocked down behind the net. Roenick trying to steal it. Bumped along the boards by Gino Cavallini, and out comes Zezel. Peter Zezel looking for Hull. Flipped it too far for him. Now Doug Wilson cleared it behind the goal. The Blues, Gino Cavallini is there, but his centering pass deflects to the line. Lawler kept it in. Behind the net, away from Zezel. And Manson tries for Presley, who has room on the right side at center. Presley puts Roenick over the line, stopping, and then he cleared it behind the net. Hull gave it away to Gilbert, in behind to Presley, trying to move out in front. Lawler knocked him to the ice, and it's cleared back to the Hawk zone. Conroy dumping it back in. Lawler around to the near board, held in by Bob Murray, trying to center it. Lawler steals that one, and back come the Blues. Zezel gains the line, and Brindamore in there just ahead of the play. Now McLean and Lemieux. A little pushing after the whistle, but no further developments.
Well, Lemieux fell down, and McLean made him pay, gave him a face full of glove, but McCreary, no penalty called in that situation. And McLean clipped Lemieux in the left eye earlier, got away with it, only a 2-minute minor for it. Meanwhile, the other end, a giveaway by Hull, picked up by Gilbert. Presley, a dangerous move, trying to come out with his back to the front of the net, was leveled from behind by Lawler. Riendo's best save, though, in the last shift prior to the Presley chance on Steve Thomas. Jocelyn Lemieux, originally drafted by the Blues, scored his first career hat trick in the regular season against the Blues this year. Missed a couple of games in the first playoff series against the North Stars.
Oates, Brindamore, and McLean remain on for the Blues, while it'll be Creighton, Goulet, and Lemieux for the Blackhawks. Aired into the Blues zone. Jeff Brown hit it to the right wing boards. McLean shot it to center. Now Paul McLean able to gain control for St. Louis, and the Blues dump it in. McLean in behind the net, tied up by Conroy there. Then Brindamore dug it out. Brindamore looking for Oates. He got to him in the corner, centered it. Brindamore couldn't find the handle. Adam Creighton does, and slides it back into the St. Louis end. Paul Cavallini ahead too far for Oates. Brent Yanni gathers it into Manson, and he lost it as he came to the line. Now Yanni retreating deep into his own zone. Gave it to Manson. Long feed to Larmer at center. Steve Larmer flipped it over the line, but Wilson had Savard too well covered. Rich Sutter the other way, missing Lowry. Yanni then puts Thomas over the Blues line. Steve Thomas now with a shot. It deflects wide. Larmer behind the net, overskating a bouncing puck. Jeff Brown hammers it back the other way. And Doug Wilson will play it with 1:40 left in period 2. And the Blues out in front 3-2. Steve Thomas sliding into the Blues zone. Savard hustling to try to save the icing. He does, but then nobody there to help him out. Ron Wilson shot it to center ice. Now Sutter for St. Louis. Chips it into the Chicago end. Keith Brown. Now bangs it back into the blue zone. Roenick chases after it. Couldn't get any wood on a shot, though, as Gino Cavallini tied him up. And back at center is Manson. Now St. Louis gains control as Lawler shoots a long lead, deflected. And Zezel in there well ahead of the play with 54 seconds left in the period.
Some tired hockey players here in this warm building. See it as the period wears down. High intensity level, excellent game. A lot of flow at either end. Blackhawks with 26 shots on goal. Blues with 21 and a 3-2 Blues lead. Blues with 2 goals on the power play. Brown goal at 9:42, the difference up till now. Well, Brett Hull, another terrific night with a goal and 2 assists.
Now the face-off controlled by Chicago's Bob Murray. Murray bouncing one into the Blues, and Riendeau out to sweep it away from a rushing Goulet. And now it's flipped ahead, taken by Lemieux on the near side. A wrist shot and a save by Riendeau, and he'll hang on to it.
Well, Riendeau very alert in that situation. Saw Goulet speeding in, came out to clear it. And Lemieux's long shot gloved easily by Riendeau, who was traded for Lemieux. Riendeau and Mobesso came over from Montreal. And Lemieux went with goaltender Darryl May and a draft choice to the Canadiens.
Face-off will be to the left to Riendeau. Creighton and Ron Wilson ready. Wilson wins the draw. Coming to the near corner now. Creighton after it there. Ian Wilson bumping along the boards. Now there's going to be a penalty. Gord Roberts knocking down Lemieux from behind. And what's the call? The Blues Roberts, I believe. They have been ruled to have too good a grip on Jocelyn Lemieux.
Well, Roberts, one of the league leaders in that type of infraction for holding. And McCreary's going to send him off with 25 seconds to go in the period. A scramble in the corner. And then Lemieux knocked down from behind, and that's the infraction called by McCreary. His arm went up. And the veteran Gord Roberts gets the gate at 19:35. And the Black in the power play. Their last power play, they didn't get a shot on Riendeau. Blues with 2 for 5, and the Blackhawks 1 for 3. Their first goal of the game came on the power play.
Ryan Sutter talking with Joe Micheletti, the ex-St. Louis forward, who is our defenseman, who was co-assistant coach with Bob Berry, who's had a couple of NHL head coaching jobs. Micheletti and Berry change positions, one up in the press box and one down with Sutter on the bench, usually on a game-to-game basis. Here's the draw. Here behind the Blues net, Larmer put it to the near point. Bob Murray got it across to Doug Wilson, up the boards of Savard. Savard hangs on, waiting, now shooting, and he shot it wide. Riendeau never saw that. Karam's out to center ice. And the Hawks dump it back in, but they'll run out of time as the second period comes to an end. The Blackhawks will open the third on the power play, but they'll open the third trailing St. Louis in the second period. 11 shots on goal for Chicago and 8 for St. Louis. The two-period totals 27-21, favoring the Blackhawks. 1 goal each way in the period. Dave Manson scored his first career playoff goal, and 6th of the year from Jeremy Roenick and Jocelyn Lemieux at 4:38. But the Blues answered that on a power play score from Jeff Brown, set up beautifully by Rod Brindamore, and Brett Hull also assisting at 9:42 to give the Blues the lead once again. Half here to start the period, and the draw is taken by Doug Wilson. Gave it to Bob Murray. Now Here's Gilbert on the left wing board, stepping over the line, rolled it to Savard. Dennis Savard on the near side, hangs on, has room, shoots. Riendo came out to challenge and made a nice pad save, and it's cleared the other way. Savard misses Gilbert with a feed, and Paul Cavallini dumps it back in. Now Bob Murray works his way to center ice, chips it into the St. Louis zone. On the near board, Thomas delivers a big hit on Oates, who can't clear it, but Rich Sutter does. 40 seconds for the Chicago power play. Steve Thomas feeding Roenick to center. Jeremy Roenick steps in over the line on Brown, turns on the near side, dropped it to Yanni. Yanni for Roenick, walking into the slot, shoots one. Riendo the save. Rebound taken by Presley. Presley tees it up, his shot blocked by Featherstone, and the Blues clear. Now Yanni got it to Manson at center, into the St. Louis zone. He handed it right to Ron Wilson, who clears it to center ice. The Blues penalty is over now, and both teams are back at full strength. Jeremy Roenick got help from Manson at center ice. He'll tee up a long shot. Riendo makes the blocker save to Jeff Brown. And now Momesso bangs it to center. Zessel goes down in a heap there, and the play goes on as Goulet starts Chicago back. Feeding Lemieux on right wing over the line. Jocelyn Lemieux lost it to Paul Cavallini. Cavallini gave it to Featherstone. Now Zessel. Peter Zessel pushes it in deep. And Adam Creighton got a bad hop off the glass. The Blues hold it in. Zessel, but his feed is picked off by Keith Brown. Brown harassed by Momesso. Zessel trying to steal it. He almost did, but Keith Brown then managed to clear it to center. Here comes Troy Murray. In on Jeff Brown, shoots one, and he shot it wide. Goulet on the near board. His turnaround shot is blocked in front. And Paul Cavallini hammers it back into the Blackhawk end. And Secord will have to play it. Al Secord feeds Troy Murray. Trying to get it in. Unable to do so. Now bounce one back of the Blues net. McLean is on it. McLean banks it to the neutral area. Dave Manson dumping it in. Taken by Secord on the near side. Secord trying to center. There's going to be a penalty coming up. Riendo's behind his own net. Riendo, Featherstone, and Dwayne Sutter all wound up behind the St. Louis goal, and a penalty is coming up here. It's St. Louis 3, Chicago 2 early in the third.
Bench with a sore back. Featherstone goes to the penalty box for cross-checking, and the Blackhawks' fifth power play of the night and third in a row. They're 1 for 4 in their last couple of power plays. They've had very few scoring chances on them. Riendo had a tough save on Savard earlier in the last power play, and that was it. Blackhawks not very efficient when trailing after 2 periods of play. Only 3 wins all year long.
Now the draw taken by Bob Murray, who shot deflects to the near side. Savard to the line, and Doug Wilson across to Murray. Back to Wilson, deep slot, put it to Savard. Here's the shot. Riendo the save. Rebound cleared, not out. Wilson keeps it in for Savard, top of the ring. Savard hangs on, walks into the deep slot. Now takes the long shot, didn't get through to the net. Wilson on the far board to the corner, and Creighton got a bump from Lawler. Ron Wilson steals, and his clearing effort winds up in the seats, so the Blues get a bad break.
Riendo shut the legs as Savard tried to go to the 5-hole, and then Savard with a long shot as he drifted back to the blue line, deflected off a teammate and into the corner, and then Wilson shot it into the bench. But Savard taking that shot from the point hoping for a deflection because I don't think he intended to score from there. A minute and a half remaining on the Blackhawk power play. Blues have done a great job of killing penalties after giving up the power play goal early in the first period. Marc Martin with the headsets, the former head coach of the Blues.
And the answer to the trivia question, who's the only St. Louis coach to eliminate a Chicago team in the playoffs? Jacques Martin is the man with that distinction. Ron Wilson almost looks like he's trying to break his stick, but no such luck so far. And Wilson will have to square off with Larmer for the draw here. And he's, no, not anymore. He's already been tossed out by linesman Hodges. So Lowry and Larmer get ready.
Wilson wants a new stick, but Curry won't let him go. And that's what Wilson's complaining about to the bench. That's why he probably didn't want to take the faceoff for fear of breaking his stick.
Now in the far corner, Larmer trying to center one. Goulet too well covered, and Ron Wilson cleared.
Maybe Goulet did get a piece of it, but it hit Riendo, and he wasn't quite sure where it was.
Now in the neutral zone, the Blues able to clear it. A minute left on the Chicago power play. Here comes Steve Larmer. Larmer weaving over the St. Louis line, trying to split two checks, couldn't do it. Adam Oates clears. Now Bob Murray. Cleared it to Roenick, flying in over the line, leaves for Thomas on the far side. Back to the line, Bob Murray. For Thomas, the one-timer. Riendo stopped it to Roberts, clearing.
Riendo makes the save. Thomas letting it go from a sharp angle, and he saw it all the way.
One more rush on this Hawk power play as Thomas flips it in there. Lowry tied up behind the goal. Roenick trying to jam it out of there. He did, but it's taken by Paul Cavallini. On his backhand, he shot it over everybody's head and the glass and into the seats. Oh, just 8 seconds left on Featherstone's penalty, and the Blues will have made a key penalty kill here.
Right now, the power play the difference. 2 goals for the Blues, only 1 for the Blackhawks in a 3-2 St. Louis lead. Larmer to the side of the net. Tries to put it out front in traffic. I think Goulet, who had his stick tied up by Lawler, kicked it into the crease, and Riendo made the save. Good job by Lawler of tying up Goulet with a dangerous sniper in the goal mouth area.
Creighton and Ron Wilson for the draw. Taken by the Blues, Paul Cavallini. Then Creighton got it back. Trying to center one, stolen by Paul Cavallini. Here come the Blues. Cavallini, a back pass to Ron Wilson. Wilson trying to center it. It deflects to Lemieux. The Blues penalty is over. Both teams at full strength. And Dwayne Sutter scoops it into the St. Louis end of the ice. Riendo to the right wing boards, Hull. Brad Hull tied up, then Cavallini cleared it away to Momesso. He's surrounded at center, then Hull carries on and lost it as he came over the line. Sergio Momesso dumping it in. Keith Brown starts the Hawks back, ahead to Thomas. Now he gave it to Troy Murray over the line. Murray waiting for some help. Rolled it in deep for Thomas. And Lawler came to take it away from him. Carrying it to the center ice area. Manson dumps it back in. Mike Lawler got knocked down. Troy Murray took it away. And he was knocked to the ice by Zezel. And the Blues come up with it. Brett Hull got it to center, and Momesso puts it in the Chicago zone. Kent Yanni around the boards to Thomas. Steve Thomas now cranks a long shot, gloved by Vincent Riendo easily. And he gave it to Hull, who shot it to center ice. And the Blues dump it in from there. 7 minutes gone in the third. St. Louis clinging to a 3-2 lead. As the Hawks dump it in, right in front, Savard, shot and a save by Riendo. The Blues were hoping for an icing call, but Savard outworked everybody to get to the loose puck. Now Greg Gilbert for Savard, far corner. Savard around one check, now walks in behind the net. Savard knocked down, there'll be a penalty coming up against the Blues. And the Blackhawks will get yet another power play chance. It'll be their fourth straight. And they better cash in here because you have to believe that the Blues will get a manpower advantage pretty soon. 12 and a half left in the third.
This time, the first one at 3:28. Featherstone for cross-checking. Savard, nice move to get around Featherstone. Looked to pass it. Wilson went down. He goes in behind the net. Featherstone hacks at him, then knocks him down from behind. The cross-checking penalty after Savard missed a great chance on a Larmer dump-in. Gilbert set a pick. Savard snuck in behind and then just shanked it wide of the net, as Riendo might have gotten a piece of it with the pad.
Roenick, Thomas, and Presley to start the Hawk power play with Manson and Yanni. Here's Manson at the near point. Up the boards to Thomas, side of the net. Here's Presley with a shot, blocked by Riendo. Rebound, trickles out to center. Now Yanni puts it through to Roenick on the move at center ice. Gains the line, then stops along the near board. Roenick, side of the net. Presley trying to stuff it in, couldn't. Roenick shoots, he shot it just wide off the end of the stick. Out to the far point, Yanni. His shot blocked out in front, and Ron Wilson cleared. And Presley and Schnaps are going to get penalties here, as they had difficulty separating. They came back up the ice right in front of McCreary, and they both had the lumber going a little bit. They'll both be sent off. 12 minutes for the third. 3-2 Blues as we pause for a read.
Act as a screen or for a tip in. It's knocked into Riendo, and then Schnaps works them over, and then they get up and swing their sticks at each other, offsetting minor penalties for slashing at 8:07 of the third period. 10 shots to nothing, the Blackhawks here in the third period, but they've had 2 power plays. Blues protecting a 1-goal lead. Still 1:17 remaining on the power play.
Now it's Troy Murray with Savard and Larmer. Bob Murray and Wilson the point men. And here comes Bob Murray, leading Doug Wilson, who dumps it in there. Into the far corner, and Larmer and Sutter come together. Larmer dug it out to Bob Murray. Near point to Doug Wilson. Gave it back to Murray. Up the boards to Savard. To Wilson at the far point. His long shot. Tip! Deflected wide off a Blues player. Hawks working a pick play to try to free up Wilson. Now Murray. He's going to run a pick again for Wilson. Now he had to give it to Savard. Back to Wilson. Here it comes. Didn't get through. Savard to Bob Murray. It bounced over his stick. Taken by Paul Cavallini. He couldn't get it by Troy Murray. Now Murray on the near board. To Wilson at the line. Across for Savard. He's got some room. Couldn't shoot it. Now Bob Murray trying to shank it in front of the net. And it dribbled to the near side where the Blues clear to center. Savard quickly back over the line, but the Hawks had failed to clear as Larmer and Troy Murray couldn't get outside the line in time, and the whistle blows.
Blackhawks trying a different setup here on the power play. Doug Wilson creeps over to the far side. Bob Murray then moves in, sets a pick on the top guy in the box. Savard on the far side. Bob Murray comes in to pick on Sutter. Wilson lets it go. It comes through. I believe it hits the skate of Cavallini, hits the side of the net, and through the legs of Riendo. I should say it hit the side of the net after it deflected through the legs of Riendo on the shot from Wilson. It hit the skate of Paul Cavallini and came out the near side. 13 seconds left on the 6th Blackhawk power play. 4th power play in a row. Blackhawks had 16 shots in the first period, 11 in the second, and now 11 here in the third. The Blues have yet to get a shot on goal. Yet they have the lead.
As you mentioned, though, 2 Hawk power plays contributing to that one-sided margin here in the third period. The Blues win the draw and clear it. And the penalty now is over. Both teams back at full strength. Keith Brown bangs it in. Around to the near side. It deflects to Zezel, who bounced it to center ice. Conroy puts Lemieux back over the St. Louis line. Jocelyn Lemieux lost the handle along the boards. Now Lemieux perseveres behind the net. He dug it out. Lemieux to Dwayne Sutter, who shoots one tip. Oh, that deflected over top of the net. Now Lemieux got a big hit from Lawler in the corner. And the Blues gain control and clear it back into the Chicago end. We're halfway through the third period. 3-2 in favor of the Blues. As the Hawks dump it in. Paul Cavallini. Bumped by Thomas, but he cleared it to the far side. And Brindamore can't get it out. Thomas in the corner. Center one. Quick shot. Oh, Riendo. What a save on Goulet. Michel Goulet, a quick release right from the doorstep. And Riendo with a right pad. Keeps the Blues out in front. Here's a steal by Roenick to Thomas for Goulet. Riendo again. Rebound to the Blues, and they clear. Vincent Riendo. Two glorious saves on Michel Goulet, and the Blues still have the lead. It's 3-2 St. Louis.
Vincent Riendo, brilliant here in the third period. The Hawks had 2 power plays. They don't score on Riendo. Thomas out front to Goulet, the quick shot. Riendo kicked it away. And then right after it, a giveaway by the Blues, picked off by Roenick into Goulet, and Riendo the same type of save on a quick shot from Goulet.
That's the 40th shot of the game by the Blackhawks. Riendo stopped 38 of them. But none better than those 2 chances that Goulet just had. Both teams back at full strength. Now the draw to the right of Riendo. More the same on Tuesday night. Game 4 back here in the St. Louis Arena. And what a terrific series this has been. Great theater. All the way through it to this point. Here comes Lowry racing in on Wilson, trying to cut for the net. Wilson said no and crunched him into the end board. Now Gilbert the other way. Slips it ahead too far for Savard. And the Blues, Lowry dumps it in. Doug Wilson looking for Greg Gilbert. Rich Sutter stepped into him. Gilbert chopped it loose though, and Savard got it out to center ice. Now Roberts in his own end. Leads Momesso on the left wing boards. He couldn't get it in deep, and Keith Brown sends it back the other way. Jeff Brown for St. Louis. Bounce it to center ice. Here's Momesso taking a long shot. The first shot on goal for St. Louis in the period. Millen with no trouble there. And they'll go down to cover it up for a whistle.
The puck seemed to dip a bit. Momesso getting the first shot, as you said, and the puck seemed to drop, and Millen made the save and then fell on top of it. Might as well take an opportunity. Goaltender hasn't felt the puck the entire period. He might lose his concentration. Good play on Momesso's part.
The broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Channel and WBBM News Radio 78 by the Chicago Blackhawks solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the consent of Sports Channel or WBBM Radio in Chicago is prohibited.
8 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in another great game.
Zezel and Creighton to the left of Millen. A couple of players have difficulty lining up. Presley called to the bench by Mike Keenan. And just a quick word before he gets back out onto the ice. Now ready. Couple of players jump the gun. Creighton and Zezel now square him up. And the draw right to the goal mouth. Millen leaves it there for Yanni. Trent Yanni fought off one check, then Hull stole it trying to center, and it's picked off, and out come the Hawks. Creighton steps over the line, put it to Lemieux, up the slot, cutting in, shoots. He shot it wide as the puck was flopping on him. He couldn't get much wood on it. Now Presley's shaken up as he got leveled in the corner, but the play goes on. Presley is back on his feet. Here's Jeff Brown for St. Louis, looking to clear it, and he hammers it back the other way, and now Zezel got leveled by Creighton, and Presley gave him a cheap shot afterward, and we have some penalties on the way.
And I think Momesso's going to get a 10-minute misconduct. Curry obviously didn't like what Momesso said to him, but Creighton got away with one. He flattened him. Zezel well behind the play, and then Presley took a shot at him as well. No time to lose control now in a 3-2 hockey game. Still plenty of time. It's under 8 minutes to go.
It's St. Louis.
Well, Jocelyn Lemieux on a feed from Creighton, splits the defense, takes his time, makes sure it goes to let it go, was hooked at the last second. The puck went on its side and he shot it wide. Riendo is making some great saves, and the Hawks squandering some good opportunities by poor marksmanship.
Now Roenick and Oates to the left of Riendo. Oates winning the draw. The near board McLean. He cleared just outside the line. Roenick couldn't quite hold it in, so the offside whistle sound. Mentioned game 4 Tuesday night back here in the arena in St. Louis. A 7:30 Central Time start for that one. Roenick, Thomas, and Lemieux on for Chicago. Oates, McLean, and Gino Cavallini for St. Louis. The draw to Jocelyn Lemieux. Flips it ahead. Bob Murray to the far corner. Shoots one. Shot it wide. Wilson at the near point keeps it in. His long shot. Riendo through a screen. Rebound. They score! From behind the net. Bob Murray banked it in off a fallen Riendo. Murray was behind the goal line extended. He chipped it out in front off Riendo and in. And this game is tied at 3.
It's amazing. All the great chances that the Blackhawks have had, all the terrific saves that Riendo has made, and a goal like that ties it up. Off the draw, Bob Murray sneaks in, cranks it up, shoots it wide. Doug Wilson keeps it in. This shot deflected in behind the net. Bob Murray stayed there, put it out front. Riendo diving back and hit him on the outside part of the left knee, deflected into an empty net. The Hawks get a big break. All the great chances they've had, and they tie it up on a fluky goal like that. Bob Murray just put it out front. Well, Lemieux and Doug Wilson will get the assists on Bob Murray's goal. Riendo disgusted. He can't believe that's the one that ties it up.
He went to try to glove it, and when he fanned on that, the puck caromed off the pads and in, but Riendo had the chance to smother with a glove, and he just whiffed, and it cost him a goal. And it's 3-3 as McLean, back of his own net, had trouble with Thomas. Now Lemieux dug it out to Keith Brown. He keeps it in for Thomas, who shoots one. Riendo the same rebound, just chopped away from Roenick. Now Roenick got to it. In behind the net it goes. Oates swings it around the boards. Yanni able to keep it in to the near corner. Thomas centered it. Roenick, he couldn't get off the shot as Gino Cavallini tapped it away. Now taken by Gord Roberts. And Roberts feeds Oates. Or Gino Cavallini, rather, who was tied up at center ice. Steve Larmer takes it away to Savard. Savard gains the line, peels off to the far side. Now trying to center it, just missing Gilbert. And Roberts able to clear it away. Here comes Ron Wilson. 2-on-2 into the Hawk zone, and Manson took him off the play. It rolled to the net where Millen covers it easily with 6.5 to go in the third. Chicago 3, St. Louis 3. Louis Arena.
Nice alliteration.
I couldn't say it fast 10 times, though. Here comes Paul Cavallini. A shot tipped right on. Millen, great save. Rebound Manson. And he cleared it to Presley, who pushed it to center ice. That shot was redirected, and Millen was in the right place at the right time. Now Creighton trying to center it. Riendo picks it off, was going to play it, and now thinks again and goes down to get a whistle.
The faceoffs have really hurt the Blackhawks in this contest, allowing the Blues the power play goal and some good offensive chances. The Blues winning the draw, and Millen's first tough save. He's had 3 shots on goal. 2 of them just went to the crease, and one was a long shot by Momesso, but clearly this is the best chance of the period. The only scoring chance, really. The shot by Cavallini deflected right on target. I believe it was Brindamore who got a piece of it, who's had a terrific series, and Millen was able to kick it away. Meanwhile, at the other end, Zezel, after Riendo stopped the Creighton attempt, Zezel tried to put it back towards Riendo and almost put it under him.
Savard and Ron Wilson to the right of Riendo. Now the draw to the near corner. Gilbert battles Paul Cavallini there. Then Savard came and dug it out. Savard trying to center it, didn't get through Lawler. And now the Blues, Mike Lawler able to bank one back into Chicago territory. And Manson will have to play it. Here to the head to Larmer. Steve Larmer dumping it in, hoping for Gilbert. Chases in behind the net. He got a big hit there from Paul Cavallini. Then Savard took it away for Gilbert back of the goal. He took a bump there, then still tried to center as he was knocked down. It winds up behind the net again. Thomas trying to wrap around. They score! Steve Thomas on a wraparound. It may have actually been tapped in by a Blues player before it was over, but after great work, board work by Greg Gilbert behind the net, Thomas came to help him out, and Steve Thomas puts the Hawks in front for the first time tonight, 4-3.
What a shift for Gilbert. He got hit twice by Cavallini, once by Lawler, and another time by Wilson. Takes the hit to make the play, falls down, kicked at by Thomas on a player change. Thomas and Gilbert behind the net. Thomas picks it up, he gets away from Cavallini. While he's going down, his attempt hit Lawler, came back to Thomas, and he hacked at it while he was down in the goal mouth. He tried the wraparound, it hit Lawler, came back to him, and somehow he was able to swat it past Riendo. But what an effort by Greg Gilbert. He was hit 4 times behind the net and still continued the battle and allowed the play to continue.
Gilbert and Savard are given the assists on Steve Thomas' 4th playoff goal at 14:38. 2 goals in just over 2 minutes for Chicago, and the Hawks have turned the tables on the Blues. First time tonight Chicago's been in front. Now here come the Blues. Brindamore for Hall. Oh, he overskated it, and the Hawks clear it. But the clearing effort winds up deflecting into the Chicago bench. Can you give 2 assists on 1 goal to the same guy? If you can, Greg Gilbert should qualify there.
That's amazing how many times he got whacked behind the net and still continued to persevere and forecheck and allow the play to continue. Thomas, 16-4 the shots on goal, and 1 of the 4 shots for St. Louis has been a scoring chance. The first shot came with about 8 minutes to go in the period. Shot from just across the red line by Momesso. The other 2 shots he got credit for barely had enough steam to get to the goal mouth, and Greg Millen played both of them.
As you sat here watching the 3rd period, now the Hawks did have a couple of early power plays to help them get momentum, but in your mind, were the Blues maybe playing kitty bar the door a little too early?
A little too cautious. Obviously, the Hawks came out early, forced the situation, got some help with the 2 power plays for cross-checking on Featherstone, but the penalties were created by good forechecking from the Blackhawks as they forced the issue. The Blues have been a good team in protecting the lead, but maybe they sat back too soon.
Red Hull cranks it up, but it deflects wide off of Conroy. Now Zezel near corner. Center one, Jeff Brown, a back pass. Roberts has to chase for it. Now takes the long shot. They score! Gord Roberts! Shot one through traffic. It may have been deflected, and Greg Millen appeared as if he never saw it. And the Blues come right back and tie the game at 4.
Some unlikely goals here in this 3rd period. Behind the net from Bob Murray, a wraparound that failed by Thomas. The puck goes all the way around to the boards. Then Zezel gets it to Brown, and behind the back pass over to the point. Creighton goes out to try and shoot. Roberts just gets it through, And there are 4 players lined up right in a row in front of Millen, and he never saw it. It was in and out. And the Blues tied up on their 5th shot. And this basically their second scoring chance. Roberts got it through Creighton, but there were 4 guys lined up right in front of Millen, 2 Hawks and 2 Blues, and he never saw it, obviously, in and out with 4:36 to go in the 3rd period. And the Blues tie it up 4-4.
They're going to say that puck was tipped in. Did they give it to Hull? I think they said Brett Hull tipped it in. Roberts and Brown have been given assists, I believe. We'll get an official call in a moment. Here's the draw. Roenick into the Blues zone to Presley. Behind the net, too far for Thomas. Now Yanni keeps it in to Presley for Thomas, side of the net, centering Presley. The shot, big save, Riendo, rebound. Riendo covers it up, and we remain tied. Just over 4 minutes for regulation time. Hawks 4, Blues 4. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
4 guys lined up, and Brett Hull apparently got a piece of it and threw Millen and in. The 10th goal of the playoffs for Brett Hull,
who tonight has only 2 goals and 2 assists. 4-4, and the crowd back into it here in the arena. Here's the draw in the Blues zone. Kicked in front to Larmer. A quick shot and a save by Riendo. It was slowed in the process, and Riendo goes down to cover it up.
Savard and Wilson tied each other up. Gilbert had a stick tied up, so he kicked it back to Larmer. Larmer, who was slowed up, just trickled it towards the goal mouth, and Riendo made the save and throws the puck. 19th shot of the period for the Blackhawks, 5 for the Blues. $17,806 on hand here in the arena. And to help spur the Blues on to the lead in the series. Well, you said it earlier. The 3 goals scored in this period are not going to make anybody's highlight film. But the Blackhawks with 2 unlikely goals grabbing a lead. And then Brett Hull with a deflection to tie it up for the Blues. Now here's the play out to center ice. Yanni. His pass broken up. Bouncing around at center to Larmer. Larmer steps in over the line. Over skating it in traffic. Savard, after a bouncing puck, was turned around. Out comes Rich Sutter. Sutter clearing it into the Blackhawk zone, but he had not reached center, and this will be an icing call against the Blues as we're down to 3.5 left in regulation time. One thing that really might have turned this game around as far as the Blackhawks are concerned, Rick Mahar in the second period was lost. He limped off and has not returned. Mahar and Wilson are almost double teaming Dennis Savard. Now it's up to Wilson to do the job, and Savard, Larmer, and Gilbert have had an outstanding 3rd period.
How much information do you think we're going to get on Mahar's injury?
We don't get any information from any coaches in regards to any injuries, and they won't even let us interview any players.
Between Mike Keenan and Brian Sutter, it would be easier to get information out of the CIA or KGB than it would be to get any information out of these 2 guys. Can't interview players. That's the. What are you going to do? Talk about cars and clothes? Take their mind off hockey? Well, some things boggle the mind. Here come the Hawks now. Creighton put it in behind the net. Lemieux bumped there by Brindamore. They pin it up against the boards. Now Zezel in there. He's able to jam it loose. Here's a square off with Roberts and Creighton, and they're not going to go anywhere. So a couple of penalties coming up here. That was all right in front of Bill McCreary.
Well, Adam Creighton in game 2 took 3 retaliatory penalties that resulted in power plays for the Blues, and one of them went in. And he and Roberts get into a duel as Lemieux was trying to create something in behind the Blues net. Penalties coming at 16:46 of the 3rd period. We expected this very type of series. We have not been disappointed. Tremendous action.
By the way, speaking of disappointing, I want to pass along happy birthday greetings to a gentleman who now is headed to the downward side of life. Peter Wirtz celebrating his 30th birthday today. Hope he enjoyed the first 30 because it's only going to slide downhill from now on, Pete. But a happy birthday, and we will not pain you with Dale Talon's rendition of Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Here's Roenick up the far side, battling with Gino Cavallini. Dropped it to Manson, a long shot, sailed up high. And McLean trying to clear, did get it to center. Oh, dumps it in from there. Dave Manson. And now the Hawk goal knocked off the moorings as forechecking Blues player collided with Millen.
Well, Millen very lonely in this third period. Had little work, only 5 shots on goal. Meanwhile, his counterpart, 19 shots, 17 saves, 46 to 26 shot total. Hawks had 16 shots in the first period. We were down 2-1. Messo and Hall scored. Wilson had a power play goal for the Blackhawks. Manson and Brown scored in the second period. Jeff Brown on a power play to give the Blues a 3-2 lead, with 2 goals by Bob Murray and Thomas and a goal by Brett Hull, who's tied it up.
Now Yanni back of his own net. Gave it to Bob Murray. Sends it out to center ice. Taken there by Featherstone, who dumps it in. Yanni back of the net. Gave it to Goulet on the near board. Looking to clear. He did bounce it out to center ice. Now well behind the play, Sutter and Goulet have trouble separating. As the play is in the neutral zone, Lowry able to dump it into the Chicago end. 2 minutes left to go in the third period. All even at 4. Keith Brown puts Thomas to the line. Got it to Presley with a long shot. Riendo the stick save. Now Keith Brown, a drive, gloved by Riendo, and he hangs on.
'20th shot. Presley, who's been red hot in the playoffs, trying to go low to the glove side and sticked away by Riendo, and then the knuckleball shot from Brown might have gone wide. Too close for Riendo to let go, the way things have happened here in the third period.
Roenick, Presley, and Thomas on for Chicago. Zezel, Brindamore, and Hull for St. Louis. Now ready, the draw to the far corner, Thomas. Steve Thomas trying to center one, couldn't get it by Paul Cavallini. Now kick loose to Zezel, back of the net. Starts at 4, Hull, but missed him with a pass, and the Hawks will dump it back in there. Paul Cavallini hoisting one out to center. Dave Manson missing Roenick with a feed. Hull the other way, putting it over the line to Zezel, who shoots and a save, rebound. Oh, good work by Manson to deflect the puck away, or the Blues had a great rebound chance. Here's Roenick on the counterattack, trying to cut for the net. Couldn't pull the trigger, and Riendo will smother it. And a good job by Paul Cavallini to tie up Jeremy Roenick as he cut for the goal without drawing a penalty.
Zezel at one end on the feed, breaks in on the left wing. Millen kicks it away with Brett Hull breaking in for the rebound. And then Roenick counters, breaks in on the far side. Tried to pull it back and then let it go, but he was hooked by Cavallini and didn't get much on the shot as it just trickled to the goal mouth. Dave Manson just swiping that rebound away from the Blues' Brett Hull. And the Blackhawks come right back.
Excellent play by Paul Cavallini to get around the body of Roney to tie up his stick, and as a result, he couldn't get rid of the shot. 70 seconds left in regulation time. Now Savard, Larmer, and Lemieux against Wilson, Lowry, and Sutter. Here's the draw. Rich Sutter on the right wing board. Here to the center. The Hawks dump it back in as we head into the final minute of the third period. Bob Murray back into his own end. Murray gave it to Savard. Dennis Savard steps over the St. Louis line, trying to center it. Here's Larmer. Larmer waits for help, put it in front. Bouncing puck. Sutter hacked at it. Larmer able to hold it in though to Manson. Swings it around to the near side. Savard to the line. Wilson a long shot, didn't get through. And now Riendo backing into his own goal mouth, knocks the net loose. And a whistle with half a minute left in the third period. The face-off will be to the right of Vincent Riendo. Ronick, Thomas, and Presley back on there for the visitors from Chicago. Oates comes on for the Blues with McLean and Gino Cavallini. Just one centerman on the ice here for St. Louis with a draw in their own zone. Ronick and Oates ready. And Oates won the draw to Paul Cavallini. Hammers it around the board. Back to center and McLean. Paul McLean got rubbed off by Yanni. Taken by Ronick on the far side. Swings it around to the near board. Gino Cavallini kept it in. Behind the net, Oates centered it. Oh, McLean missed it. Now Jeff Brown the shot. Millen the save. Rebound. Cavallini. They score! Blues win! St. Louis with 9 seconds left. Cavallini makes it 5-4.
Aggressively made the first save, kicked out a rebound, and then was down and couldn't get back up, and Cavallini, not known as a sniper, took his time and buried it. He made sure the face-off was inside the blue zone. 18 seconds when Cavallini pinched in. Puts it around, the backhand pass out front, misses McLean, it comes out to the pointman. Ronick comes, the shot from Brown, the rebound. Cavallini with Millen down, and turns and fires and put it just under the crossbar with 9 seconds to go in regulation. It was a sudden death type situation, and the Hawks had to face off deep in the blue zone, but McLean rubbed off, carried it in. The Blues kept it alive. The shot from Brown, the rebound to Cavallini, and he makes them pay on their 6th shot of the period. The Hawks dominated the period, had a pretty sizable edge and chances in the game, but yet the Blues get 2 goals late in the third period. Hull deflected a Robert shot to tie it up at 15-24, and the Cavallini goal with 9 seconds to go, and the Blackhawks down with only 9 seconds to go in the face-off at the red line.
First playoff goal of the year for Gino Cavallini, just his 13th career playoff goal, but he scored none bigger. Here's Thomas off the draw, knocked down. The play is offside anyway, with 5 seconds left.
Off the draw, the Blackhawks might have had a chance, but Thomas just overhandled it at the line. Offside situation. They've killed off 4 seconds from the clock.
So this draw just outside the Blues line. A meager 5 seconds remaining. Cecil and Ronick are going to get ready. And Mike Keenan wants a timeout here. Calling timeout just now. It appears that Perry is recognizing that, and they have to. Blackhawks with a Hail Mary type play. 5 seconds for the draw outside the line. So the Blues in shape to grab a 2-1 lead in the series, and what a huge win it would be for St. Louis after falling behind in the third period for the first time all night. The Blues were down in this game with just 5.5 minutes remaining. But Brett Hull on a deflection scored his second of the night to tie it up. And then Gino Cavallini with 9 seconds left on a rebound is going to put the Blues in front in this series.
Brett Hull with 2 and 2. Jeff Brown with a goal and 2 assists. Set a 4-3 lead with 15:24 gone in the third period.
All right, Millen's off to the bench. 6 skaters for Chicago. Creighton is going to go for the face-off after getting some instruction here from Keenan. That's complete. So it appears that Creighton will be trying to pull it straight back to Yanni. And Yanni likely would throw it across to the right side where Roenick is stationed. And he'll hope to get a chance that way. Now ready, here's the draw. Zezel tied up. Creighton just falling on top of the puck. And a whistle with 2 seconds left. And now some pushing and shoving. Linesman able to keep everybody apart. And now it's a near impossibility for Chicago to force overtime. 2 seconds left with a draw 65 feet away. Over 17,000 are loving it. They drop the puck. The Blues win. It's official now. And well, there should be, as Riendo comes up with another solid effort here tonight. And remember when Michel Goulet had 2 glorious chances in the middle part of the third period, and Riendo maybe there had his best sequence of the game. And the Blues have taken the lead in the series 2-1. And Riendo, who prior to this series had had a grand total of 11 minutes of postseason experience, is not showing any ill effects from his inexperience. He has performed more than capably so far for the Blues. The Hawks in the third outshoot St. Louis 21-7 and 48-28 for the game. But it's St. Louis that will head home the happiest. The Blackhawks started the scoring on Bob Murray's goal from behind the net, his first of the playoffs from Wilson and Lemieux at 12:26. Then Steve Thomas scored from the seat of his pants, tapping one in from the doorstep. Thomas's 4th playoff goal from Gilbert and Savard at 14:38, and the Hawks were in front for the first time in the game. The lead, however, lasted under a minute as Roberts took a long shot from the far point that Brett Hull redirected into the net. Hull from Roberts and Brown at 15:24, and then the game winner, Gino Cavallini on a rebound from Brown and Oates at 19:51. And the Blues have a 2-1 lead in the series. Your final tonight, St. Louis 5, Chicago 4.